our home for building that electoral power that you're talking about. And I think I also want to electoral power has to do with so many other subjects as well, right? Like we want to talk about people as complete human beings. We want to fight for queer issues. We want to fight for trans issues. We want to fight against climate change. We want to fight for all folks to have education, for everybody to have access to their livelihood and to have a stable economic life as well. But more than that, I think they're really powered by the power of young people. So many of the movements I would say that we've seen in recent years are moments, for example, the response that we saw for young people in Florida to the Don't Say Gay bill make me really proud because we are a part of that movement of young people fighting for the future of all of our communities. So I'll make my plug in here. If you want to join United We Do Action, if you are someone that cares about any of those issues, that cares about people of color, about immigrants, about queer people, then you should join us by texting Here to Stay to 877-877. The keyword is Here to Stay to 877-877. But I'll stop my plug there. And what else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I think we should go back to back. Today is like literally actually.
Yeah.
It is like it's my it's my Super Bowl, as I would like to say.
Oh yeah.
It's like I think we're really. I don't know. I think it's a really big day for us. I think what's really what we want to impart on our soccer numbers. Everyone is not like this is a really exciting day because it's not really at the end of the day about like who we look for. Like it is, but I think it's more about like the fact that today is like a really special day for us to be able to like go out to schools, to go out to schools, and like say like we've either had enough or like we want this to change. So I'm just like really excited.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right. It's like the day for change, like where we actually make our voices heard and kind of like yell back and reprimand Congress people if they need to be reprimanded. This is our moment to do it.
Right.
So that is really exciting as well. I will say that I think in our live we probably won't get to the point where we are discussing results fully, but I do think it's important to say that no matter what the results are or like how things turn out, it's really important for people to continue to be in community, to continue to be active, and we will continue to do that at United We Do Action. So people should stay connected to us. We're going to be going through a lot of other conversations as results come in the next couple of days. So be sure to tune in, even if tonight we don't end up getting all of the results. Same, if you are out there voting, make sure that you stay in line. Make sure that you make your voice count. That once you're in line, they have to take your vote, so make sure to stay there. The music keeps getting louder. Our team is like really living it up. Which is a bit much. If the team is watching, maybe they want to turn down the music a little. Team. But there's I mean, to be specific, they're over there texting voters, so they can't have the music loud. They're not actually on the phone. So today we're just doing that last bit of texting to ensure that we're telling people, make sure you get out there, following up on those voter plans that so many voters did with us before. So
It's like they got our note, so thank you for watching.
Yes. Thanks team for lowering that music. All right. So yeah, if you're a voter, make sure you get out there to vote. I think let's talk a little bit, get deeper into the work that we've done. I think that we can start by talking about some of the endorsements that United We Do Action has done, especially to try to remind y'all if you're on your way to the polls, make sure that you're listening for the names that you should care about. These candidates who really care about our communities. I'll pass it on to you. Who did we endorse, Michelle?
Oh my God, yeah, so many great people. I also like going back to what I said earlier. This ultimately election season is not about like politicians. Like we're not here to be like we would like unconditionally forever like love whoever, because the point of endorsing these people is not to be like we're your biggest fans, and while we love these people, it's about what they do in office and how they show up and deliver on the promises. So I'm going to preface with that. But with that said, like these are the people that we think we can hold accountable best and the ones that will answer the best to our communities. So
we get a drum roll? We don't have a drum
yes.
roll. Just imagine there's a drum roll. I don't know what I call it.
Oh,
there you go. That was it.
There we go. So I'm gonna start with Texas. So fun facts about me, and this is maybe the most interesting fact about me because I don't have much else.
Oh my god.
But the most interesting fact about me is that I am from Houston. I have a proud Texan, and so anytime we do anything in Texas, I think I have a strong Texas bias.
Strong Texas pride. Yo, what's up with the Texans, y'all? All this pride. I was shocked when I learned that you were from Texas.
Well, thank you so much.
Because you no, I love Texas too. No hate to Texas now, but I was surprised because I thought you were from New York. So
Yeah.
it's cool to know.
Yeah.
That you're repping both.
I'm repping both. I'm based in New York from Texas, and I think what's really special about Texas is like a lot of other people are surprised too. It's not for the reasons that you said, but it's because like a lot of people don't realize like that there's such a huge and diverse community of like immigrants and people of color in major cities in Texas that don't necessarily like get the coverage that like Republicans get in Texas, like conservatives get, white supremacists get, and so I really like love to highlight that whenever I can. And we're doing that with some of the candidates that we endorse in Texas as well. On the federal level, we endorsed Greg Casar in Texas 35. That is a district that stretches from San Antonio to Austin, if you know, you know. And then,
If you don't know, Google Maps it. Okay.
Google Maps it, and really, you should just go to San Antonio and Austin and like do it by yourself. It's pretty cool district. The other district that we endorsed in was Texas 15. That was Michelle Vallejo. And what we love about both these candidates is that they are like through and through, like I like to call them like our marquee, like United Movement Action candidates because they're going to be fresh faces coming into Congress hopefully. They have not held office before, and they started out in like movement spaces like we did. Not to say that we're running for Congress.
No. But maybe
But-
people should think about it. Okay, we
Yeah.
need those leaders out there.
Not us, but yeah, they're gonna be in Congress hopefully by this time next year. Greg Casar is a former Austin City Councilman, who was a labor organizer and an immigrant organizer. He fought to like keep fighting for shut down the Republicans. Michelle Vallejo is from South Texas. She's from the Rio Grande Valley, and she is actively fighting for the right to abortion in Texas, which is like super huge right now as it's under attack. And so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I've learned so much about Texas throughout my work. United Dream really gotten to know the state, and I agree with what you're saying. There's so much diversity in that state. Having come from Florida, I think it is really interesting how each state in the South is really different, but at the same time, like in Texas, there's huge AAPI communities. I grew up in Orlando that has like a ton of Vietnamese people, for example. So I think Texas is a really interesting place, and these two candidates are really rocking it. The other thing I was going to mention is we did do a video on UWDA with Justin, one of our team members, asking young people of different races, different ethnicities, what their thoughts are on the election, and I think it really exemplifies what you were speaking to. That like people have this very specific idea of Texas, and there's really so much more, and many different people who reside there and who have a lot of different progressive thoughts as well. So make sure to check that video out on our socials. But that's already a huge start to the roster. I'm very excited about those two candidates. Who else do we have? We have in Maryland. We have
Juanita Fisher.
That's right.
Who's running in Prince George's County. So right now we are actually in Silver Spring, Maryland, not far from Juanita.
But don't come find us.
Yeah. I feel like by saying that, we're like actually trying to find
Digital security.
Yeah, our location it is. No, but we're pretty close to Juanita Fisher's stomping grounds right now. She's a current Maryland state delegate who's actually running for Prince George's County Council, which is like 2 times at the county level. And she's really, really wonderful. We have a huge DMV hub that we work with a lot of our members are here today. They really love Monica Fisher, and I think it's because she's from the community. Her parents are Nigerian, South African. She's been like in her legislative career, like been a champion for us on that level. She during COVID, during when COVID relief bills were being passed, she fought in the legislature to keep all immigrants included and covered in the COVID relief package for the state. So yeah, she's cool. We love her.
Yeah, definitely. I think she's also super committed to fighting for climate change, which is an issue that's also big with our membership. And it's part of, like you said, why they love her. Let's talk about Arizona. Who are we, or what are we doing in Arizona?
We're doing so much in Arizona. Arizona is a really also important. I'm going to say that a lot because like every state is important.
Okay, here's what I'll chime in. I think that part of our strategy, which is important, is that we want to make sure that we are talking to the South, right? Like there is like the South-Southwest strategy that we're continuing to move forward. So all of these states are important, but if you notice, a lot of the places that we're talking about are like how are we transforming and investing in the South, where so many of our communities are in, and sometimes don't get enough investment. So that's part of why Arizona plays a very important role for us too.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes don't get enough investment is a big understatement. But don't worry because we're invested. We know. So in Arizona, we endorse Raul Grijalva, who's Arizona actually just got redistricted this year. He was in a different district originally, number-wise. Now he's in Arizona's 7th district. He is a longtime congressman. He's really amazing. He has always like been really bold against like candidates who've like spouted anti-immigrant rhetoric. He's authored the Environmental Justice for All Act, and he's just a really good ally to immigrants, working with people of color. We are really proud of too is that we already have some Canadians in Congress, like Raul Grijalva, who have been in Congress and have proven that they can like stay true to us in office, and so we want to keep supporting them and keeping them in office, and then also building for them.
Nice. Fun fact: in a previous life, I was a co-host for a podcast. The podcast is not continuing, so I won't drop the name. But we got the chance to interview Raul Grijalva amongst other people. We also spoke with an astronaut and like Hollywood actors and stuff. But the Raul Grijalva was actually such a beautiful interview. He is like a really nice person and really welcoming of conversations with young people. So yeah, that was my random fact about Raul Grijalva.
I know that's really nice because I will say, I mean, like a lot of politicians are not, let's be honest, like not actually nice, like in person, or they're like nice, but in this like
serious, hurried up way.
Yeah, like fake way, like I just knew this is my job. So, and when you meet like one that is like genuinely like a normal person who is nice, it is like a real standout.
Yeah, and he agreed to be on this podcast, which was a small podcast at the time with like 4 young
in the elections. I want to say maybe it was 2018 or like 2016 that we were doing that. But yeah, so cool.
Leave a comment if you think we should, and leave a name.
Please do. We have spoken about it a lot. Maybe next year is the year to do it. If enough people comment on it, I will have the power to be like, look, the people want it. So yeah. That would be cool. That would be pretty cool. All right, let's keep going. Next up, we have Washington State, also 7th Congressional District, out of Washington, and we have Roland Davenport, whom we have also endorsed, whom I have also had the pleasure of meeting, also a very fine person. We did not endorse these folks because I've met them before, though. That is not what happened.
I feel like you keep saying things that you're like Barbara Streisand affecting it. Like you're like saying things that no one was thinking.
No one was thinking that. No, not at all. But she's also, gosh, what did I have the pleasure of meeting? Anyways, she's also a very nice person, extremely invested in our communities, comes from the movement as well. I can even move for immigrant rights. What else do you have?
I think she's really powerful, and she's shown that she can wield that power in a responsible way as the head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. And you'll remember during like negotiations with the moderate side of the party, she has really like stood her ground. She's like whipped her and stand their ground and use their power as companies because it is a growing group. And I think she's a really effective leader. She also is like really outspoken about LGBT human rights because her own child is queer, and so I think that's really wonderful as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I really remember her fighting back hard against racist, the many races, the myriad of racist Trump era policies. So I think those are my memories of her.
Yeah, she's a real one. And speaking of real ones, I mean, this person, I don't need to really say anything about her. I could just be like, OC.
Just AOC.
And people were like, yeah, but since I am a New Yorker, I am unfortunately not in her district. There have been many times where I've just been like, should I move to her district to be able to vote for her, which would, you know, be complicated for a lot of reasons. One being I don't love moving. Anyways, but
I'm not moving either. I hate it.
It's a lot of work.
I tend to think for me it's immigrant trauma. I'm just like I don't want to.
Sometimes we hire Ubers because I'm like, oh, but I don't want to ask you to call because like I can do this myself. But that's like a therapy conversation.
That's a therapy call. I will say in New York it's harder to move to though because most of the time you have buildings like where you have to go up stairs or
right.
Yeah.
And then driving like giant moving vans. Yeah. But so I don't get to vote for her. But we do have people on staff who are represented by AOC, which I'm again very jealous of because that's the 14th congressional district. That's like the Bronx, and I mean she's like broken so many barriers. She's the youngest Latina to ever represent or ever be elected to Congress. She obviously is like a New Deal and its biggest advocate, and she's like really, I think what's most important is that she was like kind of she showed us that like being progressive and unabashedly progressive in your values is something that like can win you power and influence in Congress, and it showed other people that it was like things like abolish ICE and to advocate for it. And so she's really like used her power, and obviously she's gotten hate from like people who don't agree with her, but she's been so like brave and like standing up for her values.
Yeah, I think every person who belongs into the squad is that I would definitely say like the word brave is a big part of it. And also like being willing to listen, right? Like when our community said abolish ICE, being willing to listen and to be a part of that. This next candidate that I want to bring up has actually been a part of the Defund Hate campaign, which is again how do we defund ICE to ensure that we're protecting immigrant communities. And she's truly awesome as well. So up in Minnesota, I don't know if you knew that's who I was talking about, right? Up in Minnesota, who do we have? Minnesota. I'm trying to say it with an accent. Minnesota. No, go for it.
I love Eleanor. She's a Somali refugee who came here as a kid as a family. She there's also like I think there's a trend of people that we endorse who like it's not like we didn't endorse them because they like started out as like organizers or like came from like progressive advocacy spaces, but it's like a real part of like what shapes their political ideology, their beliefs, their approach to communities. And I think Ilhan is Congresswoman Ilhan, is another like
I know, I feel that way though. Because her daughter is also active on social media, and so I feel like I'm following their life. But we're not really friends.
We're not really friends as much as Congresswoman Omar. If you're watching, please be best friends with us.
or have your daughter be best friends with us.
Yeah.
But anyways, she's wonderful. She obviously is like also really unafraid to say what she thinks, and she thinks a lot of really great things. She and AOC are two members of our squad who we've gone through. Should we go to the third?
Sure. I will say Ellen also has been attacked nonstop for so long, and so I think it is really important that even if we're not in her district, we're showing support for everything that she's doing, the way that she's willing to speak up, whether it's on social media or whether it's in person. Especially as a Muslim woman, I think it's a really big deal, and so I'm really glad that our members and we're ready to support her this year again.
Yeah. Oh, and also, like, Minnesota is such a huge, there's such a huge refugee population in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that is, like, finally properly represented by someone who understands that experience, and I think that says volumes about the way that she communicates with people and represents shifts like that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go to Massachusetts, back to the East Coast. Continuing with the squad, we have
Ayanna Presley, who represents the Boston area, where at least two of our staff members are from, and they love Congresswoman Presley, and we do too. This is the 7th district. I don't know if I said that, but a lot of 7th districts.
a lot of 7th. We've gone through 3 of them.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. You gotta move to the 7th district. It's where it's at.
Yeah. Funny enough, actually, I'm also. That's not true. I used to add some way but she's a real champion. Again, like, I feel like very repetitive, but it's true that she does so much for our community. She like really walks the walk, and I think she's also really like. What I admire about her that stands out to me immediately is like the fact that she's been so bold about like her alopecia diagnosis and like the way that she talks about like disabled rights for disabled people is like really wonderful, and like redefining what like she also is someone that has a target on her back, as does everyone in the squad, for being a woman of color and an outspoken woman of color, and I think I love her for that.
Yeah, I think for me, we've actually had members. Let me say this. I think that she's been a really strong advocate of a pathway for citizenship for undocumented people who are a part of this country, and really keep this country moving in many, many ways. So I really appreciate her. I appreciate her for speaking up so much about that, even when people in Congress are not willing to listen.
Which is like always, but.
Okay, last but not least, we have Michigan.
Yes.
Who do we have in Michigan?
In Michigan, we have Rashida Tlaib.
Yay!
Once again, incredible person. And also another like great example of a person who like fits her district perfectly. Michigan is, and especially Detroit, where she is a place that has a lot of Arab Americans that like have not had a person in Congress that represented them for so long. And she's in the 12th district, not the 7th. 12. And she's the first Palestinian American woman to ever serve in Congress, which is huge. Once again, because of that, she's had a target on her back. And she's been attacked a lot from like even people within her own party about saying like that Palestine deserves to be freed from apartheid. But because of that, like despite that, she has always stood up for immigrant communities, for justice in America, around the world. And she's also like really outspoken. She's like during the Trump years, she got in trouble for like saying things that we were all feeling about Trump, and like she's just really real. And like by all accounts, I've never met her, but from everyone I've known who has met her, she is like genuinely that like such a lovely like caring person in real life, like a normal person who, because she also began as an organizer, like understands our struggles.
Yeah, what's one thing I was thinking about the squad is what a lineup for young people to look up to.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the past few years in terms of movement building and being able to like build electoral power has also allowed us to move these folks who really represent us into office, and now we have the opportunity to continue in that trend and to keep them there. So it's huge. I think if I was a kid and had these people representing around the country, these women representing around the country, it would have been huge to have that. To kind of like recognize them and know who they are. I think it is really transformative to have that. So if you're out there and you're voting today, like make sure to remember those names. Those are the names that we want to make sure that you're supporting today as well. Is there anything else? I think we went through everyone.
We went through everyone, and to reiterate, that list is, if you're in Texas, be on the lookout for Greg Casar and Michelle Vallejo. If you're in Arizona, Raul Grijalva. If you are in, just looking at the list again, sorry.
Raul Grijalva, Washington,
Manila Jayapal, Maryland, Juanica Fisher, New York, AOC. That's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We like barely ever say her name.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And in Minnesota, it's Ilhan Omar. In Massachusetts, it's Ayanna Pressley. In Michigan, it's Rashida Tlaib. And like, I look at that list and I'm like, dang, that's a really good list.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to highlight is that with the United We Dream Action Team and membership, we want to make sure that the people that we're mentioning to you are people who are committed to our communities, who are committed to immigrants, who are committed to young people and the future of the world, not even just our nation, right? And so we have been very rigorous in making sure that we're picking people who are really going to stand up for our communities, who are not going to be passive, and they're going to actually push forward our needs instead of kind of like waiting for us to show up at their office or whatever, but they're really ready to listen and to search for the answers that our communities need, particularly, and who are going to like withstand, right? They're not going to give up when other Congress people push back. So I really think that these are true champions, and we want to make sure that we support them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so let's see. What should we talk about? Oh yeah, so Anita, actually, like, speaking of like strong, powerful women, you yourself, you've been at UWDA a long time. You've come up in the organization, and now that's a mosquito.
Okay, the mosquito has left.
The mosquito wanted to join in on our conversation. But you've been here a while. You want to tell us a little bit about your story?
How did I start?
Yeah.
How did I get here? Yeah, sure. Where do I start? I was born. No, I'm kidding. I was born in Colombia, South America, and I came here to the United States with my mom and my sister, who are kind of like the core unit of my family. When we came here, we didn't speak English. There's a lot going on in Colombia, South America, a civil war of over 50 years, a lot happening. So, my mom took the brave, visionary decision to leave, and we moved to Orlando, Florida. And when we moved to Orlando, Florida, I think when I think back to being a young immigrant at that time and everything that I was trying to figure out, even now, I think back to people that maybe I met and I'm like, oh my God, they were probably undocumented, but we never spoke about it to each other, and so many things. And I think what my life could have been if I had a United We Dream at the time, it could have been totally different, and it could have really changed my life for the better at the time. So later on, time passes, I go through school. I wanted to come back and make sure that everything I learned wasn't just like stuck in a book. And I wanted to make sure to put it into action. Also, having come from Florida, Florida is a very complex state. The north, south, and central are really weird and different, but all these people live together, and I grew up primarily in a black neighborhood. And so I really wanted to talk about the way in which like racism played for immigrant people of color and black people of color who are Americans. And so when I left school, I was like, where can I do that? Where can I talk about how, if at the core, anti-immigration is really about racism? And United We Dream seemed to me like that place. So I was like, how can I get myself there? And the more that I learned about it, the more I was like, oh my God, they're building for young people. It's like immigrant people who are trying to build power, who are trying to build with their communities of color. And that really excited me. So I was trying to find my way. I ended up going to a few other places in the meantime, and eventually there was a job opening, and I applied to be the digital director in the organization. And then I came in, and literally, I think within a week of coming in, Jeff Sessions announced that he was going to end DACA. And I was like, oh man, like, I'm brand new in the org, what do I do? But luckily, United We Dream has always been extremely creative, extremely, like we have a team that is so creative, that is really strong, and so we were able to move forward, and I realized that it was the place for me because the people who were leading actually knew the experience. Of being a young person of color in the United States, and so much of the content that we create, so much of the work that we do is based on that, on really listening to our membership. And so I think that's what made United We Dream and United We Dream Action so unique for me, and what drove me to join the organization. Not to mention, I worked at a lot of places before where I was the first immigrant person to be working in the immigration kind of department, like immigration policy field, and that was shocking. And so it's been really great to ensure that young people of color and young immigrants get access to digital tools, that they get, which is often not accessible to people of color. So yeah, I love my job, and I've continued to move up and to be a part of United We Dream. So now I get to work not just with digital, but also with communications and with culture change as well, and now with you in the political. So it's been a journey, but I feel like every year that I've been with United We Dream Action has been super cool, like life-changing cool. So yeah.
I love that.
That's how I got here. I was born.
You were born.
Yeah.
Shout out to Juanita's parents
Yes.
for birthing this woman.
Yes.
What do you think is like one of the most, I guess, like, was there a moment where you like realized, like your first moment where you were like, this is where I'm supposed to be?
That's so interesting. I think probably in 2017 we launched the Dream Act campaign of 2017, and I had the pleasure and opportunity to work with the digital team. And I don't know if folks remember, we were doing a young girl dressed in a Superman outfit, and she was kind of pulling her shirt open to reveal her like Superman DACA fighter outfit. And I remember thinking, okay, what's our next evolution of this, right? And talking to the team, and coming up with eventually developing the pop art style of the Dream Act logo. And then seeing the members really own that, really own the campaign, and developing new parts of it. I felt really at home there, and like very excited for everything we were creating. And it, seeing so many young people, immigrant people, take over Congress. There was one point where we had like over 1,000 people in Congress, and doing actions. It tells you about the power that you're participating in. And so I felt really blessed, really lucky to be a part of the movement, and to be in that position of creativity at that time. Yeah. Cool times.
Oh my gosh. I feel like some people on our staff would like be really upset if we were like, I want to go back to those like 1,000 persons. Let's get 1,000 people to DC. But I would love to, I hope that one day I get to be part of something like that.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. Post-pandemic, it's been like a little harder, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I think it has been harder because we have to be really thoughtful about bringing membership together and ensuring that we have like their healthcare in mind. But yeah, I feel like we have really transformed the narrative for immigrant people with so much of that work that we've done, and I don't think that that's changed since the pandemic as well. So I think people may not be in person, but a lot of the work that was done during the Trump years transformed the way that this country thinks about undocumented people, and that's huge.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. What should we talk about? I feel like we talked about enough about me. I'm like, no more about me. What should we talk about, Michelle? Oh, well, you know what? We should talk about you. Should we? I'm like, yeah, let's talk about me. No, let's talk about you.
Sure.
What brought you into the movement?
Well, similar to Juanita, I was also born. What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. Wait, what's your sign? Let's tell people our sign.
So, Leo.
Oh, yeah, you're a Leo. Duh, I know this for my mom's a Leo. That's why.
Oh, do I remind you of your mom?
In terms of being a very powerful woman, yes,
Wow,
you know.
thank you.
Yes.
And what are you?
I'm a Libra all day, every day. OVO, October, very old.
I have to admit, I have no idea what any of this means, but
Oh, okay. The signs, got it.
yeah, the signs. But I reacted as if I do. So yes. Oh wow, Juanita, you remind me so much of a Libra. That makes so much sense. You do that thing that Libras all do. So I will really quickly go over my life story.
What is your life story?
So my parents came here from China to go to grad school. My mom, both my parents were like the first in their families to come here, and they're still the first in their families, the only people in their families to live outside of China. So my mom loves to tell a story of coming here with $10 in her pocket, a suitcase, and just having no one. And she was in Indiana. At the time, her school was close enough to a KKK headquarters that once it got dark out, the campus security had to always escort international students back to their dorms. Anyways, so I was born there. Bloomington, Indiana, lovely, cute little college town now. But I grew up with the knowledge that I was different because my parents were immigrants, and that was such a experience that
it's hard to not listen to what's happening behind us.
I know. What's happening behind us is that our organizer person is telling people that they're texting really fast, and we're basically killing it with the texting. As usual. But anyway, I moved to Houston in middle school, and that's when I finally lived in a very Asian community, but it was also very sheltered, very conservative, small C conservative, and politically conservative. But I got to college and I'm fast forwarding. So I got to college, started working in nonprofits because I felt I have this very basic understanding of I'm a person of color, growing up in a post 2016 world. My first selection was 2016.
Oh yeah.
It was also my parents' first selection as citizens, and so we all, walked train together. And then I started working nonprofits, and I was like, this is great. I'm working for some really great, well-known nonprofits. I am, doing the thing, doing such great work. But every single time I was at a different place, there was never any kind of explicit immigrant analysis to the work, and also there was never any really dedicated youth outreach to any of the work either. And every time I would bring it up, I'd be the only person in the room doing that, and so there wasn't a lot of support that I was offered because I was also in these not senior level positions where I had any decision making power. So I kept doing this and working at different places and being something's not clicking. And then finally I came to United We Dream, where I was oh my gosh, this is a place where it's a dedicated youth immigrant organization doing amazing political work where I align 100% politically. It felt like a dream. But the position I applied for, political director, I was I'm literally 24 at the time. There's no way I'm gonna get this position. So I'm gonna just apply because there's nothing to lose. And then I ended up getting it, and it's also it speaks volumes about how UWDA puts young people in positions of power and actually trusts them to do things. Because I didn't even trust myself, honestly. So
Oh my God, don't tell people this.
I mean, no, but this is the past. I super trust myself now. We're doing great. So I think this is like as close to like a dream job as I would ever be able to imagine. And that's the story.
All right.
Yeah.
I have so many thoughts, so many thoughts. She was like, "This is my dream job," and then
This is my dream job, and I also like was not confident.
but also
But
the
Juanita
dream
was-
and running a really intense campaign.
Which, yeah, I love working. I love work.
No. But no, listen. I think we're getting the cue.
Yeah.
We want to let y'all take a break. We're probably gonna take a look at some ads that we're working on, that we've been working on. So we'll be back in a little bit to continue talking more about this campaign. This is why I'm cutting you off, because I'm like, we should dig deeper
Right.
into that campaign piece. So we'll be back, y'all. Thanks so much. The game.
Yeah.
Or we'll move it after. Hello. We're not doing the game.
We know how many viewers.
Where
no.
did it say that you should tell me about yourself? Oh my God, there. I was like, I don't know.
Very small.
I did not remember. That was like, I got so
This is people that we know.
Who was that? Nestor or something?
No, it was Norma.
Oh, Norma. That's kind. She's in Texas.
What is that?
All right, and okay, no, that one's yours. We're back, y'all. You're back on with United We Dream Action. We have a guest, but in case you're just joining again, I'm gonna pass this over to Michelle so she can say who she is as well, just in case people.
You didn't introduce yourself.
But I'm going to
Okay. Saving those for last. Okay, makes sense. I'm Michelle. I am the political director at United We Dream Action. I'm speaking into an AirPod because we have a wonderful digital team that's helping us trouble tech difficulties. But we're here talking about the election because we didn't know it's election night. At this point, it's getting dark out. Polls are about to close in a few hours. We're here hanging out with our staff, our wonderful digital team, as I mentioned before, as well as a bunch of members in the DMV area because we're just outside of DC doing text banking as well. So we're hanging out, and I will pass it back to obviously the better co-host in this situation, Juanita.
I think so. That's not the case at all.
Yes, we're both great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you. I was about to
Yeah,
say your
don't talk.
name. You're surprised.
Silenced.
You're a surprise. Okay. Folks, this is a person. All right, I'm Juanita. And I'm also doing Michelle here and hosting our live stream conversation about all the work our membership has done during this election. But now we're back with a special guest whom you all have already heard. Look at the amazing sweater she is sporting as well. This is a sweater for our volunteers for text banking today. So if you volunteer in the future, you'll get cool stuff too.
Soft, I can vouch for this. Machine washable.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. You should say
Hey, my name's Holly. I use pronouns like she, her. I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and I used to live in Wisconsin where my vote used to matter a little more than it does now. But I still voted today.
No. 2 seconds in, we're already off message. Your vote matters.
Yes. I voted today. Our votes do matter, yes.
You've seen.
Yes. But we have a lot of local races that we still vote for.
Mayor
Yes.
who you should pass the vote.
I have a yard sign in my yard.
My mom lives here too. She went to vote today in DC, so you matter.
So my name's Holly.
Which is why, because you matter as a volunteer and a voter, that's why we're having you join today to do a little
Thank you.
interview.
Yeah.
So our
Okay.
audience can get to know you. Where should we start?
So speaking of things mattering, what should I very much to today and every day? Holly, why does this election matter to you?
This election, like all elections, matter because the decisions that are made by myself and us and everyone who goes out to vote today choose the people who at the local, state, and federal level that make the decisions that impact our everyday lives. That's why every election matters. Why this election particularly matters is because I feel like there's a lot of like sour feelings and distrust and just bad apathy around elections in general right now. And we need to clear that out of our systems by showing up today during these midterms so we're prepared for 2024.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that, Holly. That was a wonderful. You redeemed yourself.
You gained 100 points. 100 points.
On the scoreboard.
Yes.
Great.
Our imaginary score.
I want you to score all of your interviewees and let me know who wins.
Okay, we'll let you know at the end of the night. Speaking of, how has today been for you? What has been interesting or important about the day for you? Any anomalies?
Anomalies. Not so far. So we've been texting people right now in Florida, and we're mostly making sure that they have all the information that they need to get out to the polls today. So oftentimes the people on election day, the reason why it's important to text on election day the days prior is because like people have been hearing about the elections, they know they're happening, they think that they're around now, it's today, and then they actually, surprisingly, after getting bombarded with information for almost months, don't actually turn out and vote. It's crazy. So sometimes that last text message and the how-to, actually get off of the couch and over to the polls, is really important. And that how-to can be, hey, election polls close at 7 p.m. Or did you know that your polling location is does the school 2 blocks from your house? That type of last minute information is really important. So today we've been texting folks, get them that information to ask them if they've already voted. Folks that have already voted, we're not going to stop there. We're actually going to ask them to come join us and volunteer with United We Dream Action in the future because we want to continue organizing. So we're building our base as wide as it can be at United We Dream Action. So yeah, I've been texting people all day. It's been pretty straightforward, standard stuff. No. I think people are like happier now on election day than they are when you're like trying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They know to prepare for today.
Yeah, thank you for your hard work, Holly. I just want to this reminded me of, I have to share this story of like a weird text I've gotten while texting.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like shocked that you haven't gotten any. But like, this was before I realized we weren't supposed to, like, we tell our volunteers, like, don't open any media messages people send you because they could be like, whatever. They could literally be anything and you can't see them when they send it. So, like, out of curiosity, I opened one more time and someone sent me a picture of their, like, split open toe. I don't know.
Their split open toe.
So I'm really glad. I don't know. I don't know why I thought.
Did you reply to the text message?
Well, yeah, I redirected and I was like, thanks so much. I can't really open this right now, but like, if you want to like commit to voting.
I would have made like a joke, like, I know that you're hurt right now, but you know what'll make it better? Like, I don't know, a better joke than that, but.
Well, I don't want to make false promises. I'm not sure what that is. But I'm glad you thought that. But I mean, like, aside from, the pleasant texting, the like feeling that you're like, maybe like doing something to help, doing your part, like, what's keeping you going? Like today, like it's been a long day. Like it's a marathon. Like,
Yeah, my finger is definitely very tired.
Yeah.
What's keeping me motivated is the fact, I think it's a countdown. It's like we only have so much time left.
Keep them like in the middle, apparently.
Okay. We only have so much time left before polls close, so everything that we've done to date only matters for what we do in the next 2 hours before elections or before polls close. So that's what keeps me going, that we only have so much time left to make this final push. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting when you're a part of a campaign and there actually is an end date.
Yeah.
Today is it. Very different.
You want to know that you left everything on the field, you did everything that you could, so that when results happen, whether you like them or not, like you knew that you did absolutely everything you could to make a difference.
Yes, definitely.
For sure. And I think because Holly's here and Holly's super fun, we should play a game with her.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if that's about the interview, but I'm happy to play a game.
I mean, so look, I'm gonna give you a number, right, Holly?
Okay.
Civic engagement work, because you are definitely like contributing a lot to that today. And then you're gonna guess what that number means.
Okay.
Is that a deal?
Okay.
Okay.
Should I close my eyes and not look at the paper that might be in front of me? All right.
Sounds good.
So apparently we have to hold the mic like Holly. We're not doing it right.
I'm doing a great job.
She's doing a great job.
15 more points on the board.
She's very point driven, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, since your number is driven, I think you should get all these right.
Okay.
So the first number is 2,145,213.
2 million. Is that the number of voters we've texted throughout United We Dream Action's campaign? Is it?
I feel like you cheated.
I didn't cheat. No, I didn't.
Well done.
I watch a lot of Jeopardy. Price is Right.
Oh yes.
The cheating scandal that rocked the chess world like a few months ago.
Not heard.
Enlightened us.
The one that, like, I don't know if anyone watching understands what I'm talking about, please comment. But there was a cheating chess scandal, and what happened was like this person who like was young, like 18 years old, and like was a rookie.
Oh.
Beat this like seasoned veteran, And I feel like I'm the seasoned veteran in this situation, and you just like.
And they thought that they were lying.
Yeah, because like there's no way to do that.
Yeah. Oh, but just like the chess player, there was not any. They had to like vet them when they come into the door. Like they like scan them for metal. Like there's no way that they're cheating. Just like there's no way that I cheated. I just made an informed guess.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so.
Maybe we should have started with a different number.
That number might have been like a little obvious, right? That we would start with like number of contacts, so, voters contacted.
It's a mistake.
That's fair. So I'm gonna start with another number.
Okay.
Okay. These are okay. So I'm gonna say 100.
100. That is the. I would say it's the number of volunteers we've had.
Holly's cheating.
Hey guys, I'm really smart. I'm a Capricorn.
Okay, fine.
That's correct. Volunteers that have participated in different text banks throughout the country this year.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. I'm 1 out of 100. Okay.
Really hard one.
Okay.
Yeah. 3.5 million. We already did the number of text messages that we've sent. So, I don't know. 3.5, the number of eggs in the past. I don't know. I don't know. What is it?
5 million is the number of people that we've reached with our ad program.
Oh! What kind of ads have you sent?
Reaches are different than impressions, but we don't have to get into that.
No, tell us.
Impressions, but
What kind of ads? We've done a full ad program, y'all. We've done ads in all the states that we mentioned to you. We've done ads to hold certain people accountable for what they did. And then we've also done ads that uplift our champions, that mention all of their good qualities to make sure that.
What was your favorite ad?
My favorite ad.
Why did ads matter?
Okay. No, my favorite ad is one that we did to push back on disinformation.
Yeah.
So there's one of the most important things for young people right now out there is the economy, right? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of folks, the prices have been rising, and so it's been tough. But that also means that there's a lot of opportunity for disinformation to be out there. So we did this ad. Hopefully, we'll see it today. Where you go to the eye doctor, and when you get eyeglasses tested, you don't have perfect eyes. I'm like, I don't know wearing glasses.
I have contacts.
Okay, all right. You know how the little machine clicks and you
Yeah.
see better or see worse or whatever. The whole point of the ad is to kind of uncover the truth. So the more the little lens, the more that you get closer to the truth of who's really trying to work on the economy for low-income families and marginalized communities, working communities out there. I thought it was a really clever idea to combine it with the eye doctor appointment.
Yeah, because how else do you know to fact check with all the information out there? Cool. Awesome.
It was a cool ad. I saw it.
I don't know. I look forward to seeing it.
It's in Spanish too, so it speaks to Spanish-speaking audiences. So.
Yeah, which, as we said before, we invest in, even if other people under. Okay, we're gonna do one more really quickly.
Okay.
308, Holly.
308 is the number of shifts that the volunteers have participated in.
It's actually not.
What's 308?
308. It's actually a trick question. It's not
Is it a zip code?
It is.
Area code? Area code.
It is. It happens to be the number of the ballot proposition in Arizona.
Oh. My mom actually lives in Maricopa County.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and I was asking her, "Hey, Mom, do you know what ballot measures are on?" She's like, "I did all of my research this year, Holly."
That's awesome.
Yeah, Ginny Ming. So yeah, she already voted yes. Something she knew.
What's your mom's name?
Ginny Ming.
Shout out to Ginny Ming. Yeah. She's same last name.
She does.
What? Okay.
we don't have a guess on this. 34 million is the number of impressions we've reached across all of our TV work. When you just said there's different range of impressions, the 34 million.
Oh, 150 is the number of points that Holly has calculated in her interview.
We're leaving. All right, we're going to break.
Ads that we put out, so be sure to check it out. And tell us in the comments what you thought of the ad. Go from here.
With or without DACA, immigrant young people are ready to fight. But power of the young undocumented people that defended it, fought for it, and made it a reality is here to stay.
DACA has been a program that has changed my life completely, but although it's changed my life, it is not enough, and we need a path to citizenship.
Okay, I think we're live again.
I think we are.
What's up? Oh, we should reintroduce ourselves.
Yes,
We
yes,
have
yes.
to be doing that
Yeah.
because people are joining again.
Well, also for me, because I always forget who you are, so.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, you know what, y'all?
I'm kidding, Juanita's. I talk to you every single day, Juanita.
It's true.
I love you.
It's really true. Okay, so she said, I'm Juanita.
Okay,
I
so-
am with UWDA. Who are you?
I'm Michelle. I am also with UWDA. I'm the political director here, and you are the...
Senior Marketing and Creative Director, y'all.
Yeah. And together, we're co-hosting this live stream. We've been here for like an hour, and we're having a lot of fun, I think, right?
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun listening and thinking about all the work that many of you have probably participated in as members, whether you're in Texas, in Arizona. We're really glad to have you to be in conversation with you today. I did an outfit change.
Oh my gosh, you did! Wow, I didn't even notice that.
It's very cold in here, so I wanted to put on a sweater.
Yeah. You know what's so funny is that, like, these sweaters, these amazing Here to Stay sweaters, which is the name of our civic engagement campaign, I've seen them so, like, everyone's wearing them here, and, like, I've seen them at, like, so many events recently that it just, like, they just, like, blend into my head now. I was like, the first time I saw them, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And now I'm like, everyone in the world is wearing one.
No, not everyone in the world. Everybody at home wishes they had the sweater.
That's right.
I'm just overly surrounded by them currently.
I am. I'm very fortunate for it.
Well, in a little bit, we're going to bring you a brand new special guest. But in the meantime, I'd love to hear more about some of the live event in-person work that we did this year to make sure that we talk to voters. We dug deep into Texas, especially. So tell us a little bit about, I don't know, do you want to start with San Antonio?
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to. So I think like obviously we've just started doing like a lot more consistent live events again because of the pandemic, and we're finally like at that place. So this year we've been doing a lot of them. As you can see, this is a real live. We have real live humans in this space with us, like actually texting. We've been texting all day to voters in places like Texas and Florida to make sure that they vote before the polls close. And like Texas has been a through line kind of in our in-person work recently, because if you weren't here earlier, you missed me saying that like I have a strong Texas bias. A lot of people on staff do, which helps the decision-making process. That's not how we make decisions. We have a really strong process in place, and it is not influenced by, our personal preferences at all.
The reason why we're in Texas, y'all, partly, it's also because we do think it's a very important state. There's a lot of our communities there that it is important for us to ensure that we are fighting for them there. And I think a lot of folks are just like, oh, Texas is conservative, give up on it. But for us, it's really important to continue to invest in the many and diverse immigrant communities that are there. There's a lot of our membership that is there. And I also think that for both Texas and Florida, they dictate in many ways. They're the sites of testing of a lot of anti-immigrant sentiment, a lot of anti-people of color sentiment. So we want to make sure that we're getting at the root of that and fighting for those communities. So not just because we love Texas, but I do think it's really important to invest into those states that are often forgotten or ignored.
Yeah, Juanita said it better than I do. Which is, I mean, those are reasons also why I love Texas, is because like, as we were saying before, there are places where like people who aren't from there, Texas and Florida, like they just don't really think about the fact that these are states that like have communities that are being like underrepresented by the people that are elected to office. But these communities are like vibrant, diverse communities of color that deserve that representation. And like the reason I love Texas so much as my home is because I grew up in one of those like vibrant communities of immigrants. And so we did 2 events in Texas this year. The most recent one was in San Antonio over the Halloween weekend last weekend. I'm still recovering from it in terms of like it was such a like like I don't know. Sometimes I just like there's so much like going on that I feel like so like happy, like exhausted happy afterwards. It was like a wholesome family like Halloween GOTV festival where like over 200 people from the local community came out. It wasn't necessarily in San Antonio proper. I say that because it's like it helps people outside of that area is situated, but it's actually northeast of San Antonio in Seguin, Texas, which happens to be in Texas's 15th congressional district. It's an area that has a like largely Latinx population, and we held this like festival at a park where we helped people create voting plans, but we also had like other activities like face painting, temporary tattoos, pumpkin painting. We had a fortune teller, we had a caricaturist. It was just like a really great like we don't get to do that many things in San Antonio or the surrounding area in Central Texas, so it was like a really great introduction to the community for us. So I think that was really great. We got to bring some of our members along as well to help us with that, and staff. And San Antonio is like, I think, second to my hometown of Houston, like the second most underrated city in Texas. So yeah, that's.
Yeah. Wait, what was the event called?
It was called Here to Stay Spooky, Ghosts and Votes, which is really great. Very, very wholesome, spooky vibes, which is like my favorite type of Halloween vibes. So that was San Antonio. Do you want me to talk about Houston?
Okay, here's what I'll say. I think that the thing that I loved about San Antonio is that I think it is really important to make voting fun, and I think it's important to meet our communities where they're at, right? And a lot of that means like tabling at supermarkets, ensuring that we're coming to speak to them and offering them opportunities that make voting less or no, just more fun and joyful, which I think it's really like a central part of the United We Dream Action. energy and values. And so I really love that, which is why I was bringing up the name. I thought the name was really cool. And it was really cool to see young people interacting with this Halloween vibe that you're mentioning. But all right, tell us about the other event. Go for it.
Yeah, and one more thing on San Antonio, which was really great. Something I think about a lot is that, like, for me and a lot of us, like, my parents were not citizens until I was like an adult, so I didn't get to go with them to like the polls when I was younger, and so I never like saw that growing up really. And like a lot of times in like people who work on like getting out the vote don't really think about like children in the equation at all as like important to get to an event. But even if it's not like a immediate payoff in the most like economical sense of like they're going to be voters this year, it is like you're building this generation of people who are like getting used to like seeing voting as like a daily like way of life and like an important thing that just like happens every year. And it's like it's a big deal, but it's also like not a big deal. It's not like a whole like ordeal. And so that was like really cool too. But now I can talk about Houston. Houston, my hometown of Houston.
You and Beyonce.
Me and Beyonce and Lizzo and Megan Thee Stallion and Solange Knowles. Don't forget Solange. So Houston was really exciting because it was a huge training that we did multi-day with our members as well as some of our partner organizations around the country. We flew in over 70 people from like 18 states to train them on things like volunteer organizing, messaging, and how to spot anti-disinformation online, or how to spot disinformation online and fight against it. And then we also did a canvassing training, and then we like did a test run of that and like knocked on doors in Houston as well around a really important issue, which was like at the time DACA was being litigated in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. I'm sure if you follow us on any social media, you've seen our like endless content around DACA because it's constantly in danger. And that was one other way for us to like connect our work in like what we're doing in an election year with like things that we do year round, which are like the issues that always affect our communities. And it was a way for like us to grow the leadership pipeline for our members as well. They learned a lot. They like had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Our staff did too. And so I was also very proud of that. And that was like a month ago, like in September.
Really?
Yeah.
It feels like much longer ago that we were in Houston. But I mean, I think that time just moves very fast nowadays. But yeah, I think it was really important for us to get out there, to be knocking on doors, especially after COVID, and to be having conversations with people about what is going on with DACA, which I think because so much of it is court-based, it's hard for everyday people to be following and to know what they should be saying to their Congress people, what they should be pushing for. And so for us, it's really important to ensure that we're having those conversations with people out there. So that was really great. I miss Houston.
Let me just say, for the record, Houston is the greatest city in America, and I will die on that hill.
Don't
No, I'm saying that we're just like you want to find the city that Beyonce was from? Move on to the interview.
So we really have to get to know each other. All right. Thank you for joining us on with United Nations members. And thank you for all the work you've been doing. We really appreciate it. So we're going to ask you a few questions. Then hopefully we're going to play a little game.
Yep.
And hopefully you enjoy it.
Let's do it.
All right. To start off, tell us a little bit about why this election matters to you. Why did you decide to be a part of this campaign?
I think oftentimes it's very easy for. Oh, I think oftentimes it's very easy for for us to pay more attention when an election's coming up and we have to elect the president. But I feel midterms and local elections matter too. I'm a resident of Maryland, so the issues that we're voting on right now are very different than others in like states like Texas, Florida, and Arizona. So I think that being able to advocate in other states, meanwhile encouraging my friends, my family members to vote here. I think I'm doing. Yeah.
Favorite anything that you're like, oh yeah, that's my highlight. What was your favorite?
Specifically, during one of our outreach, and was actually texted someone that was like in a room with her. Yeah. So they sent a picture of her and they're like, "Oh, I'm actually with her right now. Like, thank you for doing this." And I thought it was like it's such a small world. And I thought it was really cool to have that like interaction. So, yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. No, that's super cool. Do you have a question?
Yeah, and sorry for the noise in the background. We are also like cleaning up right now because we respect our space. I think it's really cool in moments like that to realize, like, sometimes I text people, like in New York where I live, that are like, I actually know this person, and that's like, that's a reminder that I'm like talking to real people. I love it. Really awesome. This is really long. Like, this day has been long, but also like you text with us so frequently. What keeps you going? Like, what keeps you motivated?
Um, I feel like Rihanna has confirmed she's playing music. I mean, I gotta hear it. I gotta hear it to believe that, girl. People are not sure you're really doing it, girl. Coming back. Alright, I guess I have to do it. I don't know if to come back to play. If it's that for me now, I'll hold you there, so that we can play the game. So do a quick break and come right back.
You support DACA because you're supporting somebody like me that has dreams. I cannot imagine like what my future will be if I don't have DACA or a pathway to citizenship.
With or without DACA, immigrant young people are ready to fight. But power of the young undocumented people that defended it, fought for it, and made it a reality is here to stay. With or without DACA, immigrant young people are ready to fight. But power of the young undocumented people that defended it, fought for it, and made it a reality is here to stay.
Being asked before, because there's so many issues here in Texas, maybe you should go to a different state. And I think as an activist, as someone that's wanting to make a change, Texas is the place to be.
With me fighting for immigrant communities and learn how you can do it too. I grabbed some coffee because I need some energy to join a very important text bank with the United We Dream Action Squad before the day ends. Immigrants have faced relentless political attacks for far too long. The most recent is the attack on the future of DACA. We are reaching out to our communities to turn out the vote in support of immigrant champions and communities. We need our leaders to fight with us. Text banking is pretty easy. You don't need any prior experience. I sure didn't. You can be a part of the movement and text bank with the squad by clicking the link in my bio.
You support DACA because you're supporting somebody like me that has dreams. I cannot imagine like what my future will be if I don't have DACA or a pathway to citizenship.
Hey everyone, looks like we're back. Welcome back, or welcome if you're just joining us. We are live from Silver Spring, Maryland. We are just wrapping up a text bank that we've held for the last 5 hours with our members and volunteers, voters in Texas and Florida. Polls are about to start closing, and we're gonna hunker in and watch those for the rest of the night. So we're super excited. I am Michelle. This is Romina. Who is one of our voter contact leads, who's been texting voters with us since daily, and so we're gonna play a game with Romina. Romina does not know the answers. We are hiding them from her very meticulously. So this is gonna be a real game. But I'm gonna pass it to Juanita to ask the first question. That's the one.
I do have it. Yes. Okay. All right. So, Romina, the way that this game works. Also, y'all, Romina doesn't have her glasses, so she can't see the answers. She can't see anything, so we're good. No cheating. All right. So we're gonna tell you a number, and then you just have to guess what that number might be. Counting. So you could be like, I could be like 200,000. You might be like 200,000 cows, or 200,000 text messages. Whatever it is that you want to guess. Okay.
And they're all related to like the work that we've done for civic engagement.
Yes, that's the clue that you get. So 200,000 cows doesn't quite make sense. So don't do that one. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. You should know this one actually. Okay. 3,388,972. What's? Dun, dun, dun.
Text messages.
That's right. Okay, now I'm like, okay. Now I'm like, cheating? Questionable. Make sure to contact them and
Yeah, but it's actually the number of platforms we reach voters on: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TV. It's all the number of ones we collaborated with to get out the vote.
I can tell about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
At least 5 is what I say. So that was a really good one.
Is not in that one that is not in our notes. 12.5 million. Ooh, Michelle doesn't even know this one. Look at her face.
You'll have to know it.
I don't know. Just pick something. It's okay that you don't know. Like, I don't know. Voters? Voters? It is not voters. It's actually the number of followers that we have been able to touch through our influencer program this year. So that's just a random number I need from my head.
No, that's great. That's really cool. We're gonna do one more number. And this number is really important. 308.
Prop 308 from Arizona.
Amazing.
Gives the opportunity to non-citizen students to receive financial aid or low-cost tuition to state schools in Arizona.
Amazing. So good.
That's on point. I don't know how much more time we have. Do we have more time, team?
I think we gotta wrap up. I mean, like, the rest of our team is like,
We're moving to a different space. But
Juanita keeps telling people where we're going.
Okay. Well, this is why we're like moving to a different space now, y'all. A secret. No, I'm kidding. But I think, thank you, Romina, for being with us. You are the champion officially. You got the most questions.
Thank you for having me here. I'm very excited.
Do you have one last for voters today? Any messages that you have?
For voters, helping out, encouraging people to vote. Thank you. And polls are still open. So stay on
voting. Is Romina, maybe. All right. Any other messages that you want to share before we close out?
I would just want to share that if our digital team, if I didn't share this, our digital team would kill me. But you need to look us up, United We Dream Action, on Instagram, or Facebook, and YouTube. Find our page. You're probably on one of them right now watching us, and follow us to stay updated with our fight. You'll be able to see all the influencer content we've created, as well as the content from some of our staff, which is great. And I would also say, if you don't have a plan to vote yet, we haven't plugged this website yet today. Ourvotingplan.com/UWDA is a place where you can go as like a one-stop shop to create a voting plan. Because like Romina said, the polls are still open. You don't have an excuse anymore if you're like, I don't know where to vote. Now you do. Ourvotingplan.com/UWDA. And wrap us up, Juanita.
I think when Michelle says create a voting plan, at this point it's not create a voting plan. Just go find your polling location and whatever ID you need to bring. But it's exactly go where Michelle said to go. I think I think at some point tonight we'll be getting results, y'all. But I think we have to be patient. We got to make sure that every vote is counted out there, and that's what's most important at this time. I think, as Romina said, stay in line if you're already in line. Don't leave. Text your friends to get you some snacks while you wait. Don't give up. So stay in that night. Bring us to work. And I think here, we will continue to fight together as a community for all of our rights and for the future of our communities. So tune in and stay engaged with United Action. Thank you so much for listening to us tonight. Thank you, Romina. Thank you, Michelle.